Welcome, franchise enthusiasts. In today's episode, we have the pleasure of sitting down with the remarkable Laura Rolfe, a powerhouse in franchise consultancy realm. Laura wears many hats. She's a certified advanced franchise consultant with FranServe, the CEO of Mint Franchise Consultants, and a seasoned business strategist. As a guiding force, Laura specializes in steering entrepreneurs toward informed decisions when it comes to investing in a business, empowering them to make a business decision for themselves through the dynamic world of franchising. But that's not all. Laura's influence also extends further. As a dedicated member of the FranServe Leadership team, she takes on the role of a mentor, coach, and trainer, nurturing the next generation of franchise consultants. In today's episode, we're going to chat with Laura and reveal those wealth of experience, tapping into her insights into business strategy, the franchise landscape, and the invaluable role of mentorship in the world of franchising. So get ready to sip and learn and explore the vast horizons of franchising. So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and join in for an enlightening conversation with the one and only Laura Rolfe. Laura, welcome to the Franchise Happy Hour.
Well, thank you so much, Dylan. I'm happy to be a guest on your show. Very excited to share more about being an advisor in the franchise world, helping candidates navigate franchise discovery, how I help mentor new consultants and work with franchisors like yourself to really make a difference in impacting lives through entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been following you on LinkedIn as I got into franchising. I've been following you since then. And I got to say, you're doing some incredible stuff. You always put out great content on LinkedIn and all of your other platforms. So I appreciate it. I'm super excited about this conversation. I think you're going to bring a wealth of knowledge to the listener's experience. So with that being said, let's get started with the Franchise Happy Hour. All right, Laura. So the way we like to start this is just kind of talk about how you got into franchising. What was it? I do believe you were in the corporate world before this, right? Is that correct? Or were you directly in franchising?
Well, ironically, I've been in franchising since I was a kid. I didn't
Okay.
know it at the time, but my parents were franchisees for Coors, and I didn't know that Coors, as you sip your favorite beverage there, was actually considered a franchise. So I knew a little bit about franchising growing up. I then did work in the corporate world. I worked in senior care, managed an Alzheimer's unit for a number of years, and then I worked in nonprofit for 25 years. In my nonprofit career, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of franchisors and franchisees doing cause marketing campaigns. Really high recognized, very recognizable names in national franchising. And so, like many people, I was faced with a career transition early in COVID. And so I knew that I had this experience in franchising from my parents and working with franchisors and franchisees. So I actually inquired about home care franchise, looking at back at my senior care. But for many different reasons, senior care franchising wasn't a good fit for me. I worked with a consultant like myself. We looked at a lot of different opportunities. She really helped me explore what my interests were, what I was looking for in a business, what I was shying away from. I didn't want to manage a large staff, was the big reason for me. I didn't want to manage 30 caregivers. So I didn't know that franchise consulting was a business or a profession until I worked with my franchise coach. So she really helped me explore my what I was comfortable investing in a business, what goals I had. So I wanted something that was flexible, where I could do business from my home office or anywhere else. I'm actually in Denver at my mom's house today. So I can travel anywhere and do this business, and I can provide the same level of expertise and service to my clients anywhere in the world. And so I've been a certified advanced franchise consultant now. I just celebrated my 3-year anniversary doing this professionally,
That's
and
incredible.
placed a number of clients in businesses that they love.
Mhm.
So it's been very rewarding.
Absolutely. What a great story. And it's so funny, the more I talk to consultants, the more I hear, I didn't realize that I wasn't franchising as a kid, but I was. It's always that there was somebody in their life that was valuable or important to them that just so happened. And I honestly had no idea that course, by the way, was a franchise. I think that's the coolest thing ever. Now I should probably look into that. But no, that's such a cool story. So whenever you were doing your nonprofit, was there something that you were missing out on? What was it that really triggered you to get out of that world and get into, 100% of the time really focusing on, franchise consulting and helping entrepreneurs with that next level step?
Well, for me, it's very much like many of my clients. They don't want to work for anybody else anymore. They want autonomy. They want control over their own destiny. They want to build generational wealth, save for their retirement. So those are all things that I wanted to look for. Sure, working
Mm-hmm.
in nonprofit, working for somebody else was definitely a safe place to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that was very comfortable. I was very good at it. I did it for 25 years, worked for
Mm-hmm.
3 nationally recognized nonprofits. But for me, I wanted to have flexibility. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to venture into business ownership, and the rewards of business ownership are fantastic. Sure, it's scary at first. I had a lot of fear going, like spending this money, investing in a business for myself, the unknown. But
Mm-hmm.
in franchising, you are investing in yourself, and you're also investing in a proven system that is very replicatable. So if you can follow a checklist and systems and guidance, then you can be successful in franchising. So once I learned about all of the benefits of, sure, give me a checklist, tell me how to be how to interact with people and how to operate my business, and then I have autonomy in how I do my own business with Mint Franchise Consultants. I know where to go but up.
Mm-hmm.
When you're starting a business, certainly I had some initial uh, initial things that I wasn't expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a mentor and a coach that helped guide me through some of those things that I didn't know what I didn't know when I first started in this business. And
Right.
now I'm mentoring other franchise consultants, helping guide them and helping them set their business up for success too, with the ultimate goal of helping aspiring entrepreneurs find the right fit franchise.
I
So it's
love
been
that. And
worth it.
yeah, and I'm super excited to talk about that mentoring, how that's going and what you're finding is the most successful. I want to ask one quick thing though. Um Mint franchise consultants, what was the inspiration behind that? Was there a story about, mint, or you just like mint chocolate chip ice cream? That's kind of what my mind goes to, but what's that about?
I love mint chocolate chip ice cream, but no, it actually started with a cup of tea. I was brainstorming ideas, names for a business, and I had a cup of mint tea,
Mm-hmm.
and the idea just popped in. It's like, wow, it's short, it's simple. People can make a mint in their business.
Yeah.
Um, and I do love mint chocolate chip ice cream as well. So
No, that's awesome. No, that's good. I was hoping that there would be a story and it wouldn't just be chocolate chip ice cream, but I was I was ready for anything. So, cool that, sometimes it's just the easiest things. When I saw it, I was like, oh, it's mint. That's kind of what my first thought was. was like,
Mhm.
listen, we're Mint. We're right there. We're the ones you need to come talk to, right? So, um,
Mint condition,
yeah.
make mint. I've been to several mints, but yes, ultimately, and I love the color mint.
There you go. It is a good color. It's like a really nice little soft green, right? So
Yes.
anyway, I think it's a fantastic name. So definitely kudos to you on getting up that. So let's talk about the coaching aspect. When did you actually start, mentoring and coaching other franchise consultants?
The last 2 years at the FranServe convention, I have been a team leader. So
Mm-hmm.
leading a group of consultants as they navigate learning from the various franchisors that are present at the FranServe convention. I lead Team Yellow. This year, we won the Team Spirit Award, partly because I'm willing to put myself out there and be a little crazy. So like it's at Disney World every year. So I dressed up like Winnie the Pooh, my favorite yellow Disney character. And then this year I also dressed up as Belle. So, I work hard, I play, I have fun. So through that, I just naturally mentored some of the consultants that attended those conventions.
Mm-hmm.
And for the last 6 months, I've taken on that official role as mentor of new consultants as they're onboarded with FranServe. So the consultants will complete 2 weeks of training. And then once they have completed that training, they're
Mm-hmm.
paired with me as their business coach to really dive into the areas that they would like to develop to build that skill set to best match their clients with franchisors and ultimately help people make the decision to invest in a business for themselves.
Absolutely. I love it. It's going, with a nonprofit that you're working at, you're helping people, and you're providing a service to people in that aspect. And now you almost get to do that not only as a consultant, because you absolutely get to do that as a consultant, but you can do it for other consultants. It's like, man, you're really going full circle. I love it. Good for you. That's awesome. And I'm super excited. Our partnership with FranServe, y'all are great. And I absolutely love, all of the relationships that we built there. So excited to continue working with you guys for sure. So I appreciate everything, and your mentorship, it definitely shows through. Some of the consultants I've worked with, I've talked to them about, hey, yeah, you're their mentor. And so it's great to hear. So let me ask you this. Let's talk about some, candidates that you've worked with, right? So I'm sure you've placed multiple people with, excellent businesses. They've, started, they're ramping up, they're killing it, they're making money. Is there one simple, success story that sticks out to you? Or, when you're down in the dumps, you're like, you just think about that one person that you helped. Who is that for you? Or do you have one?
I have lots of them, but I'm going to talk specifically about an E2 visa candidate that I
Mm-hmm.
recently placed in a business. She has lots of international experience. She's a previous business owner, and she thought she wanted one type of business. But in talking to her and really listening to her story, what her experience had been, what type of investment she was looking for to move to the United States and start a business in Las Vegas. Um, I I was great at helping to be a matchmaker. I love it when
Mm-hmm.
I'm like right on the money with matching a candidate with the right type of business. And so this candidate knew she wanted this. It was a commercial cleaning business. She as soon as I started talking about it, she got excited. And then
Mm-hmm.
when we were working with the franchisor through the discovery process, she became more engaged and said, yep, Laura, I'm going to kick off my stilettos, get rid of my heels, and I'm going to trade them in for my cleaning shoes and my mop and really build a team. And she was such a strong candidate that for the first time in this commercial cleaning company's history, they awarded her 2 territories, not just one. So she She owns the entire Las Vegas territory for this commercial cleaning company. And she's setting an example for her son, who recently turned 18. That was really important to her in building a business. So I'm actually going to be meeting with her in March when I go to Vegas, and she goes through training. She starts on Monday and she'll open her business on December 12th.
That is awesome. I think that is such a good story. So thank you so much for sharing that. I love that you stay in contact with people too. It sounds like you're really, you're not just like, hey, you become a franchisee. All right, now you're their not problem, but now you're working with them. I'm gonna let you go. I love that you're staying engaged and staying on top of it. I love to hear the good story. That's the first E2 visa story we've had on here. So that's awesome. I think that's so cool. The fact that you were helping her, not only I like the idea of the matchmaker that you talked about, but it was such a good match that the franchisor was like, this is it. Like, this is what we need. And send us whatever, how many thousands of these, this is who we need. And that they felt so confident in that they awarded her two. That's incredible. That's such a cool story. So thank you again for sharing that. I appreciate it. So I wanted, go ahead.
Yeah, and then another recent story, just, I know you only asked for one, but I have so many that I have to share another. So I have personal friends, many people, they know what I do for a living. And a friend called me out of the blue in July and said, hey, we've decided that we're interested in franchising. And they wanted a brick and mortar, and they had very specific ideas of what they wanted. And then we talked about what that really looked like for them. And they didn't end up with a brick and mortar. They ended up with a home-based business, something that they could scale, something with large revenue potential. That was they needed to replace $300,000 in annual income in the first 12 to 24 months. So I presented them with some different ideas. And it's always a little bit scary when you're working with personal friends of yours, am I the right match for them? And they went through the evaluation process and were recently awarded 3 territories in where I live, because they're my friends and neighbors. And so it's just, it's cool to work with all different kinds of people.
Very rewarding for sure. I mean, you just change people in your community. So you're not only helping other people in other communities, you're also affecting your own positive, your own community. I think you were just actually, if I remember correctly, there was something on your LinkedIn about how you were the most highly, I'm going to get this wrong, but it was like highly recommended service. Like Mint Franchise Consultants was just like, you were just rated something. I can't remember exactly what it was. I don't know. I saw it on your LinkedIn. I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
you know
so
what I'm talking? Yeah,
I'm highly rated and recommended by not only candidates that I've worked with, but also by franchisors and other people that I've done business with with Mint Franchise Consultants. So I've achieved the highly rated category on Alignable. I've got lots of testimonials on my website, mintfranchiseconsultants.com. I need to update with some of my newer recommendations, but I'm so busy talking to people on the phone that, things like updating my testimonials and stuff, that'll have to come maybe over the holidays when things slow down a little bit.
Yeah, well, great achievement either way. I think that's really cool, and congrats on pairing. I can imagine how difficult of a situation that might be. Like, oh my gosh, am I getting this right? This is a person who comes to my barbecues. I need to do this right, but you
Yes.
you stick to the process, right? I mean, just what we talked about in the beginning: process, procedure. How do we do this? We replicate it and we do it again. There's my dog.
Sweetheart. I love dogs. I see myself. Love pet franchises too.
Yeah, her name's Oakley. She just wanted to get in the camera real quick. So anyway, I appreciate you sharing those stories. What I loved you talking about for a second there, your friends came in, hey, I want a brick and mortar. I want to me, that's what everybody thinks about when they think about franchising. What do you think are some of those other misconceptions, or, talking just a little bit about, when people, what is it that you think people have a misconception about franchising typically in?
Well, definitely people think of McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or, a haircutting salon as franchise because you can visually see them. They don't really think of home services, for example. Joshua Tree Experts, you wouldn't necessarily think that, gosh, a tree trimming and pest control and lawn care company would be a franchise, but definitely a needed service in a lot of communities. So there's over 7,000 franchises out there, and navigating all of the different choices is not easy. I represent about 800 different brands, and I have to understand a little bit about a lot of the brands, and then help my clients understand what that investment is going to look like for them, have a good idea of what their why is. Why is it that they want to invest in a business? And then understand that, yes, it's still going to be hard work investing in a franchise. You still have to work. There are semi-absentee, meaning, working anywhere from 10 to 20 hours a week still requires work, or absentee models. But there's lots of different opportunities out there that the people wouldn't necessarily think of on their own. That's why it's great to work with a coach who is really well versed in understanding the over 30 different industries in the franchise world. I think another misconception is that you have to have a lot of money to invest in a franchise. We partner with some great funders who can help with SBA loans. Typically, you need to have 20% cash to invest in a business if you're looking at SBAs. Rollover for Business Startup, also known as a ROBS, is another great way to fund a business. Most people don't know that they can take their 401k from a past employer and invest that into a business without having to pay interest or IRS penalties. So a coach can really help somebody navigate all of the intricacies to make an informed decision about investing. And then what other partners should be brought into the equation to help them make that decision. We work with some great franchise attorneys, as an example. Engaging and having a franchise CPA can be very helpful. And then evaluating maybe 2 different brands to see which culturally you have the best fit with. One of the statistics that I talk to my mentees about is most people, when they go online and they start looking at a business opportunity, whatever they look at, only 15% will actually invest in the initial business that they inquired about. Most people 85% are going to invest in something other than what their initial idea or thought is, because they're working with somebody who can help educate them about all of the different opportunities that are available.
I think that's a great point. Like you said, there's 7,000 different ones. You go on these portals or whatever, you see, you go to like a franchising website and it shows you all these different ones. How do you navigate that? Right. So it's like, it's exactly what you're here to do. You're here to help them navigate and guide them. So, and I think you're doing a great job of it. And I think the listeners out there, if you're hearing this and you're thinking about it, just stop now. Just reach out to Laura. Don't even worry about anything else. Let her do. Hey, this is her job, right? This is what you do. This is what you love. And I love it. So, hey, I appreciate you saying that. I think the misconceptions are always something that you just got to keep drilling it in there, right? Because in my opinion, it's always like the McDonald's and the Chick-fil-A's of the world, but there is just, everything from, there is brick and mortar that you could get into. You might find that, hey, I like a gym style, or, I always think about, don't be the consumer either. You don't have to like necessarily want that service yourself, but there might be thousands of other people out there that actually do. But if you can enjoy the people you're working with, then maybe that's all that really matters. So definitely something cool to think about. So, when when you're evaluating franchisees, and I know that, obviously you're getting candidates through it, what are some of the, some of your most successful people that you've worked with? What are some qualities that they might have, or just values that they portray that you think a potential franchisee, if they have those things, that you think that they could also be successful?
Well, those people who are great at following systems are terrific franchisees. So our military veterans, a lot of our franchise partners offer military discounts because they want to recognize and support our veterans, but also understand that our veterans are fabulous at following systems and tend to be the top producing, top level franchisees for a system. Also, I like to work with candidates who are going to be ready to make an informed decision and invest in the next 3 months or so. Territories for some of the hot brands are selling quickly. And if you wait and you are hesitant about making that decision to invest for 6 months or a year, that territory may be sold. I talked to a candidate earlier today. He was super excited about a brand 6 months ago, but that brand is no longer available in his market. So we're having to come up with something else that is going to meet his investment goals. Somebody who is well-funded, somebody who, again, has that 20% cash to invest in the business. They have their spouse on board, or their spouse is also willing to go through the discovery process with them, is also really important. I find that our spouses really, they have a different perspective on investing in a business. And so the dialogue between partners is really important in making that final decision to move forward with a particular franchise. Other qualities that I find helpful for the franchisee candidate, you do have to have a decent credit score. I recommend typically 700 or higher. Even if you're going to self-fund, you do need to be able to establish business credit for your business. So those are all considerations for a franchise. And then I think sometimes we overlook what the exit strategy is. Sometimes we need to start with the exit strategy before we make the investment. Is this going to be something that we're going to do for the next 10 or 20 years? Or is this something that we're making the investment, we're going to scale it, grow it, and then we may want to sell it in 5, 8, 10 years and invest in something else? So I like to have those conversations early with my candidates.
Excellent. I love the idea of also making sure your spouse is on board. Nothing will kill a deal faster than you get all the way to the end and they're like, well, it turns out I never told my wife or husband about this, and now I'm first. They didn't realize until you sent the agreement over and they got an email and they're like, what the heck?
Yes.
No, I think that's a great point. When do you usually recommend, like, if somebody out there is listening and they haven't maybe told their spouse yet, and they're like, well, maybe I should. When do you typically recommend, or how do you recommend that they do that?
Well, I typically on the first or maybe the second or third call I have with a candidate, we'll talk about who else will be involved in the business. And I ask about their family. Is their spouse going to be involved in the business at all? And even if the spouse isn't going to be involved in the business, I encourage them to have their partner be on all of the discovery calls with a franchisor, so that they're both hearing the same thing. And the spouse is going to know, is this a right fit for you moving forward, or maybe, and get excited about it with them and help move things along and encourage them. So the earlier in the process that a partner can get involved in the discovery process, the better.
Yeah, and I sometimes find that our partners know us better than we think we know ourselves, for sure. So I think they can help in that decision. So especially if I was going to be the one doing it and my wife was like, Dylan, I don't know why you think you're going to enjoy that, but you promise you won't. She'd probably tell me a lot better than that. So I think that's a great nugget there. So let's talk about the opposite side of that. We've been talking about, it sounds like, franchising so far has just been butterflies and rainbows. Is there anything that you find that's challenging? What are some of the challenging things that you've experienced as you've been a franchise consultant?
A couple of things for people who they're afraid of paying a franchise fee and a royalty. They don't
Mhm.
understand the value of paying that, making that initial investment, and they may feel more comfortable doing it on their own. Great, that's totally fine. And we're going through this discovery process together. And if at the end you decide you want to do this on your own, terrific. No water under the bridge there. But I look at that initial franchise fee and the ongoing royalties as the franchisor is a business partner for you as a
Mhm.
franchisee. So look at them. If it's a 6% royalty as an example, they're a 6% owner in your business. And as such,
Mm.
they're going to want to make sure that you are successful and succeeding, because their 6% royalty is going to be dependent on your success as a franchisee. You also want to look at a franchise system that you want to work with somebody who's going to continue to invest in adding additional revenue streams, or
Mm.
expanding their technology or marketing platforms that are going to help you as a franchisee. So on the flip side, they're not everybody wants to franchise, and that's okay. Some of us
Mhm.
have our own brilliant ideas that are new concepts that aren't out there yet, but
Mhm.
typically franchisees are much more successful, much more likely to succeed and still be in business 5 years from now than those people who decide to start a business on their own.
Mhm.
But there's nothing wrong. If you want to be an aspiring entrepreneur and start something on your own, I say go for it. I love Small Business USA, and that's the backbone of our country.
Mhm. Now, I think that that's a great point. It's just get out there and work for yourself. It doesn't matter how you do it. It doesn't matter if you do it full time, part of the time. I think it's just there's something very innately strong internally. I feel when you own something and you know that that something is yours. And I think franchising can do that for a lot of people. I really do think it can. I think it's opened the doors and the potential to get into something that you've just never even thought was possible. I could never imagine just I don't have the thought process in my mind, and I think a lot this is probably majority of the people to, like, put all that together and start it, right? But a franchisor is like, "Hey, this is the business. It's in this little box." And that's what that's what you get with the initial franchise fee. You're saying, "Hey, I now own a certain part of the country for this specific brand, and I have this nice little business in a box, and I also have these, 15, 20 people who directly support me when I have issues and concerns and I'm hitting those speed bumps. This is the first time I'm experiencing them, but it's very likely it's not the first time they're experiencing them." So I think that's another special thing about franchising as well.
Yes. Well, and I've worked with candidates and place candidates who've started their own business. And I've actually, I have the domain Second Business Easy Button,
Yeah.
because the first time you start a business, you don't know what you don't know. And you may not have all of the understanding of everything that goes into starting a business.
Hmm.
So investing in a franchise as a second business or a third business, they're like, this was so easy. It's like hitting the
Yeah.
easy button on opening and starting a new business. They're like, I will never start another business from scratch again. So that's kind of fun too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that domain. That's a good one. um, So, hey, as we start to close out here, I just, is there any advice if there's somebody out there listening and they're just considering, entering the world of franchising, entering, they're a little nervous right now. What is some, a nugget of wisdom or some guidance that you might give them to take that next step?
Well, it never hurts to have that initial conversation. You can have that initial conversation and then decide the timing's not right. I'm not ready to really explore it any further. And that's okay. It may be 6 months, a year, or 3 years down the line when you are ready. But You can get some of your initial questions answered by talking to a franchise consultant and understand what the opportunities might look like out there for you. Have a conversation with your family, see if business ownership is the right path for you, or if you're quite satisfied and happy with wherever you are in your professional life. There's nothing wrong with that, but it never hurts to have that conversation. Franchise consultants, like myself, I don't charge a fee. You're not going to pay more for a business by talking to a franchise consultant. We're here to advocate with you, to help be your mentor and your coach, and help you make an informed decision. Is franchising the right path for you, or if it's not the right path for you? And either one is fine. So having those conversations early is good. But most people, the first time they start thinking about business ownership, they don't jump into it in a month from now. It typically takes them 6 months to a year before they're really ready to make that leap into business ownership.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that that's a great piece of wisdom. And, I love franchising because education, like you said, is absolutely free. So whether it's, today, tomorrow, you don't have to decide this right now. It's like, you could just be interested, and let's see where that interest leads to, and take action on it today. I think that that's a great thing. So hey, Laura, I appreciate you jumping on here so much. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. Before we get off though, I do have a little segment I'm going to hit you with. So I do this little thing called Ask ChatGPT. So what I've done is I've gone to ChatGPT and I've said, hey, give me a situation in which Laura is going to be presented with where she has two different outcomes that she has to choose. So this is what ChatGPT gave me. Laura, imagine you are presented with an opportunity of a lifetime, an all expenses paid vacation to one of two incredible and adventurous destinations. Option 1 transports you to the vibrant streets of Tokyo, a city pulsating with neon lights, cutting-edge technology, and a fusion of ancient traditions with modern trends. You envision yourself wandering through the bustling markets, indulging in sushi delights, and immersing in the dynamic energy of an iconic metropolis. On the other hand, option 2 beckons you to a serene landscape in New Zealand, where majestic mountains, pristine lakes, and lush greenery create a breathtaking panorama. You picture yourself embarking on scenic hikes, basking in the tranquility of nature, and encountering the friendly Kiwi culture that embodies warmth and hospitality. Now you must decide if you're going to enter the neon-lit excitement of Tokyo or the tranquil beauty of New Zealand. Where do you think you would be going?
Ironic that you would be asking me this, Dylan, and that ChatGPT said that. So both places I would absolutely love to go. I am a world traveler and an adventurer, but I have been looking at going to Japan. So,
Really?
so I think ChatGPT must know that I've been looking at going to Tokyo and know something about me. So I would pick that one for the near foreseeable future, and then maybe my next adventure would be a Kiwi adventure to New Zealand. So I would love to do both.
Love it.
That was number one.
I love it. Is there something that's taken you to Japan? Is there a reason that you want to go there, or is just like, I gotta experience Tokyo?
Well, I went to Italy, France, and Monaco earlier this year. I went to the Formula One Grand Prix in Monaco,
Oh,
and
that's so
I
cool.
would love to do the Formula One Grand Prix in Japan as well. I think that would
Yeah.
be so cool.
Oh, that's such a cool experience. I just started watching that Netflix series too, and now I'm like, man, I kind of like Formula One.
Yes, I know. Lando Norris is my guy.
I think he was also on the golf one for Netflix. I was like, man, this is crazy. This is so cool. But
Yeah.
hey, anyway, no, I think that's awesome. Tokyo, I would go to either one. It doesn't matter. It's all expenses paid. I tell you what, I'll go to I'll go to Denver, Colorado. If it's shoot, I'll go down the road. You know what I'm saying? I ain't picky. But hey, thanks again, Laura. You've been absolutely fantastic on here. And I do believe that the listeners are going to take away some great insights onto this. But one quick thing, obviously, we always want to find out, before we get off here, Laura, if somebody is interested in taking that next step and talking about making that informed decision about investing in a business and seeing if it'd be right for them, what's the best way that they can do that?
Visit my website at www.mintfranchiseconsultants.com. My contact information is on there, and you can schedule a no obligation free consultation directly from my site.
Excellent. Well, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody listening. Thank you for joining the happy hour, the Franchise Happy Hour podcast. And here's to you, here's to me, and here's to franchise success.
Cheers, Dylan. Thank you.